Hi, it's Tim Hagan from Progress Coaching. And first of all, I want to thank you for joining us for building a coaching culture with CoachApply. Now, CoachApply is a platform, and if you hear the name of the product, there's a reason we named it CoachApply. We help leaders apply coaching to everyday workplace challenges, whether it's promoting somebody, whether it's telling someone they're not ready to be promoted, or coaching someone with a negative attitude, or coaching someone to find their motivation. Everything that we've done over the last 31 years has been predicated upon applying coaching. See, we always get the objection, I don't have time to coach. Our industry's really busy. The fact of the matter is, that's a smokescreen for why people do not coach. The two reasons why people don't coach is they don't know what to do and they don't know what to say. So think about what faces a leader today, legitimately. You've got a top talent, you don't have promotions. How do you have that conversation? Or how do you have that new employee who's been with the company 6 months and they want to get promoted already and they're late for work all the time? How do you have that conversation? How do you have a conversation with top talent where two people don't work well together? Leaders are faced with thousands of everyday situations that require conversation coaching skills. That's why we're in business. So we started to think about, how do we build a platform? How do we build a tool outside of training? See, the challenge has always been, well, we got to train our people. No, training is not the problem. It's the reinforcement after the training. How do we apply what we've learned? How do we apply it into everyday practice? So what CoachApply is designed to do is to provide unlimited training, unlimited support, unlimited assessments, unlimited real-world assistance for leaders. And it's not a training platform per se, it's also a self-help platform. So leaders can access it, instructional learning and development people can access it, and we've built it so it really provides organizations and its leaders and its employees, we have a version for employees as well, to become coachable and approachable for employees, and then teaching leaders how to coach. What are the right questions? Right? What are the right activities? How do I hold them to accountability? How do I drive people who are adverse to change? Sound familiar? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the video, and then I'm going to walk you through a slide deck. The slide deck is going to be one slide. When you go through that, you're going to understand the foundation of what we teach, what we've taught for 31 years. Now, let me just make one comment. Coaching is a collection of skills. It requires practice. There's no getting around it. Skills by themselves is not enough. You need a framework to coach. Let me give you a parallel. Think about if you had public speaking skills, yet you didn't know how to structure the speech. Your speech probably wouldn't go as well, right? Yet if you were taught a framework of how to deliver a powerful speech, then the skills and the framework work hand in hand. So our framework is called QALMS, QALMS. Everything we do is in alignment with our framework. When we train, when we support, when we facilitate practice, etc. So I'm going to turn off the video. I'm going to turn on a slide deck. I'm going to show you one slide that will teach you the framework. Then when we go into CoachApply for the live demo, it'll add further context. Welcome to QALMS. This is our coaching framework. Now, as we go through this framework, it's going to seem very simple, yet the gravitation, the navigation that leaders need to go through will require repetition, cadence, and practice. Yet this framework will serve you extremely well. Now, it's actually going to be two slides. I'm going to show you the QAL up close and give you some examples. First, when we're coaching, we need to ask questions. So think about someone with a negative attitude and going up to them and say, Bob, you have a negative attitude, cut it out. Wouldn't that be great if that actually worked? So what questions do, very simply, is they trigger awareness and they build understanding for you, the coach. Now, why do we bring up awareness? It has been estimated that 85% of people significantly lack self-awareness. Rarely will someone knock on your door and say, boss, I got to tell you, my attitude's going to be terrible this week. And oh, by the way, I'm going to undermine everything you say in our staff meeting this week. So there's a great book called Insights, and it's some research by a young lady by the name of Tasha Eurich. And she talks about in her survey that people said they were highly self-aware. When she tested them, she found out of the people who said that in the survey, it was 95%. When she tested them, she found out only 10% were significantly aware, meaning 85% or 8.5 out of 10 people lack self-awareness. So questions trigger self-awareness. So let's go back to our example. Bob, what are you going to do to successfully engage with your employees? Bob, what are you going to do to successfully work with the rest of your team? And how do you think that might serve you well? That will trigger different things than just giving feedback, such as, Bob, your attitude stinks. Next, inside the coaching session, you have to have activities that drive positive change. Now, let me share this with you. If I'm coaching Bob to be a more pleasant employee, more influential with his teammates, I might say, well, Bob, let's practice that conversation you need to have. Or Bob, teach me the things you're going to do this week that you're going to schedule for yourself to really invest in your teammates. So when we coach, we have questions, and then we have to facilitate something that drives positive change. Now, the learning project, which really is the bookend of the QAL, because it's really also in front of the questions, which will be explained on the next slide. The learning project is what establishes accountability and ownership by the rightful owner, not you, the coach, the person being coached. So I might say, well, Bob, next week I want you to come in with 2 examples of where you specifically invested in your teammates, where you specifically went above and beyond the call, maybe even borderline a random act of kindness. So the next time I get together with Bob, I start with questions. So Bob, what happened? What did you learn about yourself? What are you proud of? What was the impression of your teammates when you did those things? And do you know what happens? Over time, change starts to occur. Now, we don't cover it here. We cover it in the course. There are 3 levels of change: effort, progress, and results. The first 4 or 5 sessions, you want to really praise effort. You want to stay away from feedback as much as possible. Then when you get to progress, you have to pinpoint it, recognize it, acknowledge it. Because there's a great study at Harvard that says 76% of the time, people are at their most motivated state when they're progressing. It's not reward, recognition, and money. People gravitate to those things, especially when they're not recognized for the progress they're making. We also have to recognize it because, quite frankly, sometimes employees don't even know they're progressing. So again, when we use this model, QAL, that is your one-on-one or your direct coaching model. That is for one-on-one and groups, okay? Now, the next thing that we're going to cover is something called the motivator. That is the WIFT in coaching. Let's go back to our example of Bob. Now, let's say Bob wants to get promoted. Now, there's multiple ways to motivate people outside of being promoted. It's not always a promotion. I'm just using that as a rough example. Now, let's say Bob is really having problems working with Lisa. Lisa's a coworker. They have an arduous relationship. And let's say they get into arguments, and Bob is really viewed by the rest of the team as being negative. I can ask Bob questions. What are you going to do to successfully engage with Lisa? On a scale of 1 to 6, 6, you're really having fun, you feel engaged, you feel connected to Lisa, or 1, it's pretty arduous. He says a 2. Well, what do we need to do to move towards a 6? And I'm giving you an example of about 20 different conversation coaching questioning models that we teach you. Now, he might have to work with Lisa. The activity might be, well, let's practice that conversation. The learning project could be, next week, I want you to do a random act of kindness and maybe grab a soda and just chat with Lisa. Don't talk business. The QAL is when I get together with Bob. Now, the motivator is a separate conversation. If I find out Bob wants to get promoted and move up the organizational chart, I can use that as a leverage point and bring that into my conversations. So my question could be, what are you going to do to engage with Lisa? And how do you think that might serve you well in terms of your pursuit of becoming a first-time manager? What I just did is I brought in the motivator, the WIFT, what's in it for them. the emotional attachment to what most people do not embrace, and that's called change. Now, last, supplemental coaching. Supplemental coaching are supplemental coaching activities that, for lack of a better description, are prescribed. So when you look at the QAL, that's your direct coaching model, one-on-one or groups. Supplemental coaching are things that people do on their own where the manager, the coach, does not have to be physically present. Does not have to physically be present. So in Bob's case, I could get him the Chicken Soup books by Mark Victor Hansen and say, after each chapter, email me 2 things you learned about yourself you're committed to improving. Or I might set him up with, Janet, who's a really positive teammate, and say, every 2 weeks, I want you to get together with Janet and I want you to plan out some positive interactions with the rest of your team and have Janet help you. That's a form of peer-to-peer coaching. So with supplemental coaching, we teach roughly about 8 or 9 very distinct, specific strategies. The design behind supplemental coaching is just that. It's going to supplement your direct coaching, the QAL. The supplemental is something that will accelerate talent development without any additional time. Now, that is Qualms. That is our model. There's a great article out in Forbes magazine called Coaching to Resilience with Qualms. Look it up. It'll give you further context to this framework. Now, let's discuss the 4-step model. What you're looking at here is the QAL. Let's go back to Bob. The learning project is really going to start and end each coaching conversation. Yet the learning project is conducted and completed outside the conversation. For example, Bob, next week I want you to perform 2 random acts of kindness to really be viewed as an influential teammate. When Bob comes in, the learning project kicks off the conversation. I ask some questions, we have a discussion, we potentially do an activity. Then at the end again, I said, well, Bob, next week come in with 2 more examples of where you really went above and beyond the call of duty. What happens with the 4-step model, again, the QAL, is it builds up over time. It drives people through the 3 levels of change: effort, progress, and results. This takes time. People take time. Think if I came into your company and I said, by the way, hire me and I'm going to teach your leaders how to coach and everyone's attitudes will be better within 2 coaching sessions. You wouldn't believe me, right? Nor should you. So what we're teaching is the foundation of the platform. Everything that you'll see in CoachApply, everything will drive the application of Qualms. Why is that important? Because when you drive the framework, it becomes a second innate habit. Now, a lot like giving a speech. If you don't have a framework to give a speech, you're just going to show up. I cannot tell you how dangerous that can be. Because if you have someone with a negative attitude and Bob reacts and says, yeah, but Lisa's just tough to work with, and you roll your eyes and you fold your arms and you say, come on, Bob, you got to get over it. At that moment, emotion triggers emotion. Bob's now going to get riled up. Bob's going to push back, and maybe justifiably so. So as you go through the platform, remember, everything is done in Qualms to assist you and your leaders. The 4-step coaching conversation model is very simple. And by the way, this model, one-on-one, 8 to 12 minutes, once a week or once every 2 weeks. For groups, we suggest 20 to 30 minutes on their own, not within a staff meeting. So as we gravitate towards showing you the platform, keep this model in mind because you will see it throughout the platform, which maintains continuity and consistency and ease of application over time. Welcome to CoachApply 5.0. Now, what you're looking at is the cover page of the platform. This can all be private labeled to each and every client within the platform or certainly with the branding of the platform. So again, it operates very simply. You will see the arrows on the side of the platform and it works just like a book. And at the bottom, you have controls of a table of content. You can put thumbnails, you can put notes within the platform, you can share it. What's valuable when we talk about qualms, you can print and download as PDFs some of the coaching maps, which we'll walk you through. Now, the table of contents is very simple. We will cover in this demonstration essentially the first three sections: the coaching training center, the coaching maps, and the lights of coaching. Beyond that, there's a ton of additional content and services for you. So let me come back to the title page. And again, we teach you how to use the resource. So there's a video here that is a video from our company, or it can be a video from the president of your company. We can customize this platform, the look and feel, the color scheme, the logo, the branding, any way you want. Now, on the right side, how to use this resource. If you remember qualms, we color code the coaching maps for you. The questions are in green, the activities are in blue, the learning projects are in yellow, and supplemental in red. The motivator is covered in a separate video. So when we come to the coaching training center, we have the progress coaching, and it simply works by clicking on the arrows. It brings up subtopics. So as we go to the why of coaching, that's the first module of progress coaching. Now, after progress coaching, we have coaching steps, volume 1, volume 2, micro coaching lessons, critical coaching lessons where activities are completed, and how to use feedback. And we teach a methodology called EAT feedback, which stands for embrace, ask, and tell. I'm not going to go through all of those. I want to give you the fundamentals of how the platform works. Let's go back to progress coaching. I'm at the why of coaching. You can see the arrow. So here, I just open up a video. Most of these videos are about 5 to 8 minutes in length. This is very non-work interruptive. When people have about 30 days to go through the base course, which is progress coaching, this typically takes about 5 to 8 minutes a day, and we've literally timed it out. So when you look at these modules, they build upon each other. They cover the components of qualms piece by piece, and when someone is done, they go through these modules again and take about 5 to 8 minutes a day. Now you notice down here there's a link. That link will take you out to a learning assessment form. Now I'm going to show that from a client's actual platform, but essentially we've created something called a coaching loop. Let me show you that very quickly. So this is one of our clients, and this is their platform. You can see it's an agricultural firm. There's their logo. You can see their corporate headquarters behind, and essentially it's private labeled to them. Now, when I come out here and I look at the coaching training center, I'm going to go to, let's say, qualms. When someone takes this lesson, they will click on this link, and what will pop open is a learning assessment form. Let me make this very strong point. Training, and I would say training leaders to a certain extent, we've been undermined, not intentionally, but we have been undermined, okay? There's also a responsibility of learning. This coaching loop, we believe, has solved that. So when you fill out the form or the assessment, I'm just putting in a bunch of junk here. What you're basically doing is saying, what's your takeaway? How are you going to use qualms? We make them validate what they've learned and what they're going to put into action. Now, I'm not going to fill that out because that's actually a live assessment for our client. Now, where do those results go? First, we send them to a Google Sheet. Now, the Google Sheet is very easy. You can have a drop down of people. You can see who's done what. So, Jefferson's at 79%. Let's see how, this is actually their CEO. He's at 100%. You can also do a consolidated company report, team report, drop downs. You can look per module, how each person answered. You really get insight to what their understanding is and their application, along with percent completion. We have recently completed a web app. So that will then populate. And again, a lot of people bypass the Google Sheet and they go right to their dashboard. So you can look it up by team, by company report, employee report, how they answered each question. The dashboard, it can show where each team is, where the employees are, the management team, and so on. So when you come back here, that's what these links are. So in our version of CoachApply, they are at the bottom of every single lesson. So throughout the training center, which is Progress Coaching, Coaching Steps Volume 1 and 2, Micro Coaching Lessons Volume 1, which are 48 lessons, you literally have, if you want, about 3 years of coaching, training, and learning application that populates to a coaching loop for full transparency, full validity, full understanding of who's done what and what they're willing to do. That is the Coaching Training Center. Now, that is not the only thing we do at Progress Coaching. One of the things that we also do is we have a Train the Trainer program. So we also do something called coaching pods, which is our vernacular for a group coaching cohort. So we will actually have weekly, bi-weekly, some companies monthly sessions where we will take a certain part of this platform and say, okay, let's practice it. And that's what we essentially do as a service outside the platform. Now, if you look at the Coaching Training Center, we have underneath Progress Coaching, we have Qualms, the 4-step model, the tiers of learning. Some of these titles, from questions, activities, learning project, motivator, and supplemental coaching, we also teach them live on a quarterly basis, and you and your company have unlimited access to sign up as many people as you want. We also have, I believe it's now 22 automated workshops that you can take as much as you want and sign up as many of your people as you want. The live workshops really teach Qualms, and it teaches the why of coaching, then Qualms, then we have separate sessions for questions, then activities, then learning projects, then motivator, and then supplemental coaching, essentially supporting the understanding of the platform. So if you have new managers and they want to prefer to attend a live session, great. If they want to take it within the platform, great. It's up to you. So with that being said, the links at the bottom are the coaching loops. And those coaching loops all populate to a Google Sheet and then to your own web dashboard if you so choose. So what we have covered is the training portion. So I'm going to bring this back up. So when I look at the Coaching Training Center, we then have coaching maps and the lights of coaching. Let me share with you one really quick item here. So when you click on this link, you and your staff have unlimited access to complete this form. So if you want to ask for help, and we teach you what to do with help, they can put in they can type in a request. They can then send that message, and then it will ask somebody to fill out a form, and then it creates a private space for us to collaborate. We do that for each and every one of your leaders if they need that one-to-one help, and that is all included in the price. They can also send an audio message, or they can send a video message. And we make it very easy. We used to use a help ticket, and what we've done is integrated a platform that allows us to have really private digital conversations specific to what the leader is going through. So going back to the platform, we have our training, and we have 6 sections that will be added to over time. And again, we have workshops outside the platform. Now, let's go to coaching maps. The coaching maps are really designed to provide Qualms application as it relates to particular topics like accountability, like attitude, change, coachability, client interactions, conflict, millennials, motivation, productivity, you name it. Now, here's the cool thing. You'll notice at the start of each section, so if I go to attitude, you'll see the same thing. When you hover over and you click on this, it opens up an audio narration of how to use supplemental coaching for attitude. Yet when you click and go inside the coaching maps, here are your coaching maps. So let's say someone's struggling with positivity as a collective team. We give them the strategy, the questions, the activities, the learning projects, and the suggested supplemental coaching. Let's say you have someone struggling to adapt to change. You get the idea. Now, the cool thing is with each cover page, you have an audio narration of how to use learning projects for somebody with change challenges or some suggested activities. We give you a narration. So the other thing you can do is your leaders can come here and say, yeah, I've got someone who's, let's say, struggling to adapt to change. They can come down here and print it or download it as a PDF. Totally up to them. Now, at the time of this, producing this demo, we have this little character down here. And again, part of the platform is going to go through a little bit of a facelift here shortly, right after we have done this webinar. But when you look at this character next to CoachApply, you can see that the link is in live. That is something called CAM. CAM stands for CoachApply Mentor. On every page, these icons will be there, always allowing for one-to-one help from myself or one of our certified coaches, or CAM. Now, CAM is right here. So let's say we come here and we say, what are 3 questions for someone lacking initiative? What that does, and I think this is really important to point out, is that this is reading the platform. It's not a form of ChatGPT that goes out to the stratosphere. It is literally reading our platform. So there's continuity. So when you hear the word initiative, that's a define and coach strategy. What are 2 strengths? What is a major success? That's a self-actualized question. All woven into what we teach. That is accessible to you and all of your leaders as much as you want. So we have those as well. So with this, let's go back up. The coaching maps literally are from page 171 all the way down to 795. It's about 600 some pages. Here's the cool thing. We're going to be adding to it. If you don't find what you're looking for, you've got these icons at the bottom for real world help where someone might want to describe a situation, or they just might simply say, you know what, I need 2 activities for someone who's lacking accountability. And it will read the platform and give it to you. Now, those are coaching maps. What we've also done, I want to make this a little bit easier to navigate. What we've also done is we've created something called the Lights of Coaching. So the Lights of Coaching is something that's a little bit different. It re-engineers, also you can make the screen a little bit bigger. What this does is re-engineers the coaching maps. So it gives you an explanation, talks about some different things to use the coaching maps, the 4-step model, a little bit of a review, a little bit redundant, but here are the lights of coaching. I cannot stress this enough. If you look to the left, now we're going through questions by topic. What are the questions for accountability? What are the questions for attitude? You get the idea. The green light means I just started coaching this person. The yellow light is I need some questions because we're in the midpoint. We're about sessions 5 to 8, and this is all explained to you. And what they're essentially doing is they're giving more aggressive or assertive type questions. The red light is it needs immediate attention. Something needs to improve. So if you look at the lights of coaching, we have sections for questions, activities, learning projects, and motivators. Now let's take you to supplemental coaching. Hopefully that you'll find this cool. Supplemental coaching, we also give suggested books to use as it relates to the topic. We also give you not only books, and a couple in here, I know we give some videos as well. And so my point being is you now have access. We've made it really simple for you to use. And what this allows you to do is to quickly allow leaders to find resources if they want to use these resources and quickly, get these type of tools to ultimately move in the direction of supplying supplemental coaching strategies. So what we've just covered is the Coaching Training Center, coaching maps, the lights of coaching. The rest we will not cover, except let me take you to the Assessment Center. The Assessment Center is something that's new. We also give you a teammate assessment right here, post-learning assessment. So even if you want an internal workshop that they attend to find out what they learned, you can use this. We also have a grit assessment. Grit, there's a great book by Angela Duckworth called Grit. We've built our own assessment, and grit stands for guts, resilience, intensity, and tenacity. We also have a leadership self-assessment. These leadership, grit, post-learning, and team, you can use as much as you want at no additional cost. Now, we also happen to be DISC certified in EQI certified emotional intelligence. The F10 assessment we charge for, that is a self-awareness assessment that uses a little bit of a 360 strategy. Now, the tracking center, if you want progress updates from your leaders, you can use this. What areas are they coaching to? What are some of the coaching stats in terms of number of sessions, number of people being coached? And then we have also, how is your team doing? So if you're looking for a report, all of this will populate again to your Google Sheet or your web application if you so choose. So not only have we given you access, unlimited use to some assessments, the same thing is we will actually help you track and measure in your workplace. So between the lights of coaching and the two centers, we're going to be adding to that as we do over time. The master coaching lessons, micro coaching lessons, instructional coaching lessons, coaching playbooks, employee coaching playbooks. We have a plethora of information here for you that makes it easy to do two things: know what to do and know what to say. If you recall in the beginning video, the number one objection we get is we don't have time to coach. That is a smokescreen. That smokescreen, let me bring us back to the title. And again, this takes you literally about two minutes to learn how to navigate this tool. What you're looking at is an all-encompassing platform that provides unlimited training. Think about this for a second. Think about progress coaching. If you like the framework and you like its methodology, let's say 50% of your leaders leave the company. What traditionally happens? We would charge you for 50 more seats, right? Not with CoachApply. Unlimited access, unlimited usage, unlimited support, unlimited use of our AI tool CAM, unlimited support with our certified coaches, unlimited access to live workshops that teach what the coaching framework is, unlimited access to 22 very niche automated workshops, and you pay a flat fee. And so when you divide that per leader, it actually lowers your cost or investment to build a coaching culture. So again, this is a very easy tool. We're happy to do a one-on-one demo with you. We can customize this. We can bring in some of your content. If you have places where you want to measure or fill out forms, easy for us to update this tool. I hope this has impressed you. Let me know in the chat. Is this something that intrigues you? If you're looking to build a coaching culture, I promise you, you're going to need a framework. Now, if you're interested in integrating services internally, go through our Train the Trainer. That is the online course. You have to take an objective test, then a subjective test where you design a coaching plan, and then we observe you doing a best practice session. So there's a lot of ways to facilitate services, from group coaching, cohorts, one-on-one coaching, something called a best practice, which is about a 3 to 4 hour workshop. We give you all those materials. And you can customize the materials. You can take our logo off. That's all part of the license of becoming a CoachApply customer. Let me know what you think. If you say, Tim, not now, I'm not interested, let me know. That's fine. I'll back off. I always love to share with people. We are debt-free. We are not in desperate need of business. And the reason is I want to spend time with people who are like, you know what? This intrigues me. I want to dive into this. I really want to look at different ways we can use this to build out our coaching culture. And there's even more that we haven't even covered within this platform. Thanks, everybody. I hope this is worth your time.